Hey guys, today I'm going to be modifying these old USB speakers I've had laying around for about the past 10 years or so, they're quite old. To do that, I'm going to be using this Bluetooth receiver I got off Amazon for about $14. So I'm gonna open these up and make them Bluetooth compatible. So let's do it. Alright, so I've just finished opening up the controller speaker, and this is the main circuit board on the inside. Before I start modifying it, let me summarize what is going on here. Up at the top is where the USB signal and power comes in. From there, it's fed down to this chip, which is the UAC3553B. This chip is a USB audio DAC, or digital to analog converter. It takes a digital USB signal from, say, a computer, and turns it into an analog signal that the speakers can work with. However, the signal isn't ready for the speakers just yet. That's where this other chip comes in, the TPA2000D2. It is a stereo Class D amplifier which takes a relatively weak audio signal from the DAC and amplifies it so it is powerful enough to drive the speakers. Now that's great and all, but my Bluetooth receiver outputs an analog signal. So I'm going to splice an audio jack in between the DAC and amplifier. That way, I can use an onboard amplifier to boost the audio signal coming from the Bluetooth receiver. To do this, I referenced the datasheet for the TPA2000 to find out which pins were the left and right channel inputs. Then, by probing around the board, I found that those pins are connected up to these two capacitors. That's where I decided to solder the connecting wires for the audio jack. It took several attempts and very steady hands, but I eventually got the wires connected. Even though on the TPA2000's datasheet each channel has its own ground, after probing the board I discovered that they're actually connected once they go through another set of two capacitors. That's where I attached my grounding wire. Once the wires were connected to the board, I soldered them to a 3.5mm audio jack so I could easily connect up the Bluetooth receiver. Okay, so I've finally finished wiring up the audio jack to the circuit board. So right now, the USB cable is just plugged into a USB wall charger, but obviously it's not receiving any kind of audio signal from the wall. That's what this Bluetooth receiver is for. So right now I'm going to plug it in and test it out. Okay. So plugged in, and let me find something not copyrighted for me to test it out with. Okay. So as you can see, here it is. I can adjust the volume from my phone, pause, unpause it. I can technically do the same thing from the receiver, so pause, unpause, has volume control in here too. So now that the wiring's done, all that's left to do is to put it back together nicely. So I'm gonna do that right now. While originally I intended to contain the Bluetooth receiver inside the speakers, I decided I'd like to have the option of removing it for use elsewhere. So instead, I measured and drilled a hole for the audio jack and secured it in place.